Hello everyone, I'm Chef Leroy and this is Cooking on the Balcony. Today we're going to talk a little bit about holiday cooking. One of the main ingredients for a lot of holiday cooking is gravy. So I want to talk a little bit about gravy. Gravy is a thickened broth, okay? And obviously most people know what that is. A lot of people will tend to use jarred gravies from the store instead of making their own. And I can show you how easy it is actually to make a gravy. So today we're going to make a gravy making using beef broth. We're going to show you later on another segment we're going to do with crock pot cooking. We're actually going to make a beef stew in a crock pot. So I'm using beef broth. What I did earlier, I have this fancy little shaker bottle. I actually picked it up at a GNC, not to name drop, but that's where we got it from. It has a little ball in there that you use for shaking up your energy drinks and stuff that they have at the store. What I have in here is I have 1 cup of flour. Here's my 1 cup, and I have 1 cup of liquid. Okay, so what I did, since I was browning off my beef for my crock pot stew, I took the drippings from my beef, there's quite a bit of water that comes out of the beef when you're cooking it off. I added it to the shaker with additional water to get it up to 1 cup. So we're making what is called a slurry today. Okay, there's different kinds of roux, and this is what this is considered, but it's called a slurry in our terminology in the food industry. Roux, we can explain that later, but today we're showing you how to use the slurry. So, in my pot here, I've already got some water warmed up. It's not water, it's my broth. Okay, I'm going to kick this up so it comes up to a boil. The trick when you do any gravy is you want to have your water boiling pretty well. You want to have your product shaken really well. I will tell you also, it's really important when you make this, is to make sure your liquid is cooler, not so hot, because what will happen is it starts to expand, and as you pop the top off, this stuff will squirt all over you. So make sure your liquid's cool. Okay, so we're going to get this up to a boil, and yes, we're outside. It's past the 15th of November. What is today's date, Margot? It's the 19th, I think 19th. It is today. So it's Monday the 19th. We're not even, well, we're supposed to get to about 60 today. It's about 57 or so today. It's a little windy, a little chill. So, but anyway, it's very nice out here in Minnesota. Get this up. Again, I'm using induction cooking out here. This is not an induction pot. We've talked about this on one of our earlier segments. We're using a little disc to generate the heat for the pan, so it doesn't work. It's not exactly the same way induction works. At least for this pan, it's working with this. Okay, so our liquid's coming up to a boil. Make sure our shaker's good. We have our little whisk we're going to use. Now I have 32 ounces of liquid. Okay, this works with any kind. So if you're using your drippings from your turkey, and then you add your drippings for your turkey in one of these little cups with 1 cup of flour as well to get up to that point, you're going to use 1 quart of liquid, which is 4 cups. This is 32 ounces, that's 1 quart. So this should exactly thicken this to the right consistency I want it for gravy. So again, it's 1 cup of liquid, 1 cup of flour. That's a level cup of flour. Whenever I talk about these different measurements out here, I'm talking about level containers, or level spoons. So this is coming up to a boil. It's taking a little bit longer out here and that's why I was using a cover, because we are colder out here. These are going to be some of the challenges we'll have out here in this colder weather. Again, we're going to try using our crock pot out here today. We're going to show how to assemble this crock pot stew today, and we'll probably have to add additional time to our crock pot because we have no idea how long it's going to take in this cooler weather out here. Okay, we're up to a boil, close. I'm going to slowly add our slurry to this. And again, I'm going to reserve this for my crock pot stew. I'm actually going to add this to my crock pot stew later, the next segment. Again, you want to depending on the thickness of the gravy you want, just add this slowly. Sometimes you might want to use like a real thin sauce for something. Say you want to put it over, maybe you want to make some gravy for pork chops or something like that. You want to slowly add this, and you probably won't use all of this if you want a nice thin, a thinner gravy. I'm going to make this a thick gravy because I'm actually going to add this to my crock pot stew. So that's in there. We mixed it the whole time. And we have a great gravy. Now I want to give you a little bit more advice about this. I don't have any salt or pepper in this at all. This is not a low sodium beef gravy, or beef broth, but we could use a low sodium. We can add pepper to this as well. We can add any other kind of seasoning we'd like. If you'd like this to be darker in color, one of the ingredients I like to use is Kitchen Bouquet. So you can find that in your grocery store in smaller bottles, and use a little bit of Kitchen Bouquet in here to get your color that you like. When you make a chicken gravy, you can just use straight up chicken broth and it'll be nice and chicken looking. So, Margot, why don't you come over here, show everyone what our gravy looks like. See the consistency of the gravy? That's really a nice gravy right there. Okay? Some other things you can use cornstarch. It's basically the same method. You'll have more of a shiny looking sauce. This is a little bit different. If you use a roux, which is more of a common item used in restaurants, it's actually adds a little more body to your gravy. It adds more flavor. You're also using either butter or natural fat to make those roux. And again, those are also equal parts. So it's equal part flour, equal part fat. So it's going to be, if you're using a pound of butter, you're going to use a pound of flour. Okay? So that is it. That's our gravy. So I can turn this off. I'm going to cook this probably for about 5 minutes after I have it on. But I want to turn it down so I don't burn it. Again, I'm using induction. Induction works a lot different than a gas stove or electric stove on inside your house. You'll tend to burn this really easy if you're not careful, so you want to continue to mix it. Again, cooking is exactly what it is, cooking. You're in the kitchen, you're watching your product, you don't leave it for a long time. You always want to watch it. Crock pot cooking, whole nother story. We're going to leave today, we're going to leave our crock pot out here, we're going to cook our stuff outside. So that is it for this segment of our gravy. I hope you guys have a great holiday coming up. Again, we just wanted to show some new things, that, not maybe new things, but maybe something you didn't know about cooking gravies and how easy it is to do at home. I really strongly suggest you try it for your next holiday meal. You might really impress your family. Everybody have a great day, and that's it from Chef Leroy Cooking on the Balcony.